Hello. The question, can I sue, is an often one, at least it comes often before a lawyer, and usually the answer is yes if you're asking, can you? Because the more proper question would be, should you sue? But that's another question. So can you? Well, normally yes you can, particularly because access to justice is a right, and it's an important right. It's a cornerstone of the democracy and so forth. So yes, normally you can, but there are some limitations. Because yes, on one hand, we are talking about a fundamental right. On another hand, we are talking about practicality. Because imagine if everyone would sue anyone for whatever at any moment, and the judicial system is not unlimited, the resources are not unlimited. So in reality, in such a situation, the judicial system would be overloaded, would be effectively blocked. So the real access to justice for those who actually have the claim, an actual claim, might be blocked as if there was no such a right. So in reality, there is always a question of a balance. How this question is answered in our practical reality. There are two things that usually should be observed in order to actually obtain this right to sue. First of all, you have to have a so-called legal standing, interest. For example, if you see that your neighbor is treating unfavorably and maybe unfairly another neighbor, could you sue? Normally no, because it's none of your business. There are two adult persons over there. They can just decide for themselves if they want to sue or not. So if there is no actual abuse of a vulnerable, elderly, or incapacitated person, even if you do not like the situation, normally no, you cannot sue. Even if there is a situation about a vulnerable and incapacitated person, as a rule at least, like generally, you cannot sue. You can report to the public curator of Quebec, and then the public curator of Quebec could just take care of suing if necessary. If you're not happy about some contract between some other people or corporations or persons, normally you cannot sue. So you have to be either personally involved, or in some cases there might be like public standing, like a public order standing, so that you could sue as a member of a public, or as a member of general public. But again, despite of a difference in the name, the gist of it is still there. Somehow it should be your direct concern, even if as a member of the general public, or as a part of some class action group, that's another story. If it's none of your business, then keep in mind that the law does not like busybodies. At least the judicial system does not like busybodies. So if you try to sue without standing, probably you would be denied the right from the beginning. Of course, there are situations when it's not clear if you have a standing or not, and then again you should consult your own lawyer and verify. But the general rule is that you should have your standing. And another question is if you have grounds. Factual and legal grounds, actually. Well, factual grounds, the question of factual grounds is more or less connected to the question of standing. But of course, it's not enough to have only standing. It's necessary to have facts, because, well, maybe you can sue your co-contractor for whatever you think of, but if you don't have any factual evidence, then such a lawsuit would be vexatious, quarrelsome, abusive, so at the end of the day you will be punished for that. When it comes to legal grounds, usually we say that the claim should be legally founded, or founded in fact, as we discussed before, and law. Meaning that even if you have some proven fact, but if it does not give rise to some legal right, then even if you try suing, probably again it will be seen as abusive. Like, for example, you can prove that somebody sent you a, I don't know, wrong postal card, which was not actually addressed to you. So yes, you can prove that you received it, but is it a good legal ground to sue somebody? For example, those who sent that card? Well, probably no, even though you can prove the fact that you received the card. And if you try to pretend that the very fact of the receipt of this card was offensive, again, your personal, subjective, emotional appreciation is usually not enough. There is so-called, well, not always, but usually so-called objective test, which is about how a reasonable person in similar circumstances would perceive it and would do and would act. So basically, if most of the people around, vast majority of the people around in the similar circumstances, such a card would not offend, then probably you wouldn't have a claim to sue. Again, there are nuances. There are always nuances. And if you have particular case, again, consult your own lawyer. We are talking about general rules here. So you have to be, one, directly concerned by something. There should be factual evidence of that something, and that something should give rise to some legal right, which you would like to protect or ascertain or just go forth with, whatever. So, for example, again, if you see that some person is painting some other person's face with some kind of wet paint or some color, and that other person doesn't seem to be trying to resist, so there is no actual violence going on, do you have a standing to sue for that? Probably not. Well, we don't know all the facts, but out of the description that I brought. If you are the one whose face is being painted, for example, okay, legal standing to go and sue probably you have now, because you're one of the actual participants of the situation. But, and yes, you can prove even that your face was painted, but is there a legal ground for that? Because probably you consented first to participate. Second, the very fact that somebody just painted your face with your consent does not give you any particular right to sue, or at least normally, right? But if it was about you had given your consent to the painting itself, but the one who was painting your face put some offensive or pejorative word on your forehead there, without your knowledge, without your consent, and later you went around with that notion on your forehead, and because of that you got some mockery, or you were ridiculed, or well, it was unpleasant first, and maybe because of that you lost some opportunity or something like that. If you can prove all of that, of course, then okay, there might be some legal grounds already with respect to your dignity, with respect to your reputation, with respect to your privacy, and so on and so forth. Even more direct situation might come up if it comes to a money question. When you do not lose the money, when do you not pay the money, when do you not gain the money, directly or indirectly from some situation, well, probably you don't have a legal standing. If you lose money to somebody because of somebody's actions, okay, probably you have factual grounds in addition to legal standing. If it was happening against the legal rules, like the fact that you were subject to some actions on the part of somebody else, and because of that you were losing money, and again you can prove that, then probably you have your case, and then probably, yes, you can sue. But again, those are general principles. If you have your own case, come to see a lawyer, because the particular facts are crucial. Thank you and have a nice day.